Welcome to Fred Achando Analysis, ladies and gentlemen. Again, I want to thank those who take their time to support this channel in one way or the other. Where are you watching us from? Just wave or give us your flag. I always want to interact with our beloved viewers from wherever you are. The puzzle around Fred Matiangi's case and the way it was handled by the DCI and the DPP has continued to attract a lot of attraction, both within and without the country. From my position, all that I wanted to see is Matiangi living in peace in his own county, in his own country, because Matiangi was being hunted as if he is a fugitive who has done something that is treasonable. I'm sure from wherever they were not very sure whether they would spend a night at their home without being disrupted by a contingent of policemen. But the case has now been dropped, and the DPP wrote to the DCI to drop that case, citing lack of evidence. But there are several gaps that people are asking that Fred Matiangi will have to explain. In this video, I want us to look at just 3 of them because people are asking questions. It is like there is a dilemma that Fred Matiangi himself must come out to articulate. One of them is the question of the deep state that surrounded Raila Odinga, but was reporting silently and in a clandestine manner to William Samoei Ruto. You see, prior to the August elections, it was reported that the deep state was divided right in the middle. Because Raila has always said that from 2007 he has been winning the Kenyan election, but the deep state has always been at the center of robbing him of his victory. So this time around, when they shook hands with the former president Uhuru Kenyatta, the whole of Azimio fraternity, the leaders around Raila Odinga and the supporters said that now that they were together with the deep state, he was sure that when he wins, no one would take that victory away from him. But because people like Fred was in charge of security. He was so powerful that he was occupying the position of a chief minister. In fact, some of the Ruto allies, when Ruto was still the deputy president, had lamented that Fred was performing the functions of William Samoei Ruto. And so with Fred by his side, Raila was very sure, and his supporters were very sure that this time round he would avert and block every attempt to take away that victory. But as it turned out, it was never to be. Babu Owino had said that there was a fake deep state because he mentions Karanja Kibichu. Babu says that when he realized that things were going haywire, he called Karanja Kibichu, who was the powerful permanent secretary in the very ministry. They were working together with Fred Matiangi, and they were seen to be a thorn in the flesh to William Samoei Ruto. They criticized him. They said he was corrupt. They said there was no way Uhuru Kenyatta would hand over power to him. But Babu Owino reports that he called Karanja Kibichu and asked him to arrest Chebukati because he thought Chebukati was bungling the elections. But Babu reports that Karanja Kibichu told him to hold his pieces, that he didn't want the country to be plunged into chaos. Just to quote him, he said, no, Babu wacha vita. And so the question that has been there all along is, was there a part of a team that was sitting with Raila during the night, and during the day they were dining together with William Samoei Ruto? Because that question has been there. People like Hilary Mutambai, who was the Inspector General of police, and people expected that they were at the center of blocking any kind of rigging, and they would give Raila Odinga every information that he needed as far as the elections was concerned. Now that Fred seems to be dancing together with this administration, people are asking, was he part of this deep state that was cheating Raila Odinga? You saw in the bombers of Kenya, the police that was deployed there was not friendly to Raila Odinga. It was friendly to William Samoei Ruto. In fact, the Inspector General himself took sabbatical leave, and the person who was in charge was Nordin Haji. Is it Nordin? I think I don't know, I'm forgetting the name. The Deputy Inspector General, who had deployed a contingent of policemen who were there to protect William Ruto, who were there to protect Chebukati and the accomplices. And that question has been asked. If Fred was so powerful that at some point he reduced the security personnel of William Samoei Ruto, and when William complained, Fred Matiangi said that was a normal operation. What went wrong at the time, at the 11th hour, when the Azimio needed them at Boma? So that question is one that is still a puzzle that Fred Matiangi must come to articulate. I don't know whether Kenyans are reading too much, but it's bothering them. They are questioning, because in Kenya, you never know. Politics is always full of very many puzzles. Number two is the question of his relationship with Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. Fred was one of the favorite cabinet secretaries in Uhuru regime, and that's why it was being said that he was acting as a prime minister. He was chairing, in the absence of Uhuru Kenyatta, cabinet meetings. Recently, when one of their colleagues passed away, Professor George Magoha, Fred Matiangi was instructed, together with the Tuju, to form a burial committee together with the other former colleagues, and they were to give a befitting send-off to their former colleague. They took charge. In fact, during that time, that is when we saw the altercation between Fred Matiangi and Ruto taking center stage. His security was reduced, and the enraged Ruto decided to even reduce the security of Uhuru Kenyatta. Even at the day when they went for the burial, Fred was there, conspicuously taking charge, as you could see. Recently, when there was this allegation that the police went to his home at night, Uhuru instructed Danstan Omari to go and procure anticipatory bail, so that he cannot be arrested, because they read mischief. And you all know that the relationship between this administration and Uhuru Kenyatta is not one that is palatable. Now that Fred has been pardoned, is he going to betray Uhuru Kenyatta? Because sources have it that when they detained him at the DCI headquarters, Uhuru Kenyatta himself made an urgent call and threatened that if they continued to hold Matiangi against that order that was barring them from holding him there, then he would come and storm the DCI. And they were afraid that a former president would not be detained, or denied entry the way they were trying to do with Raila Odinga. So that combination of Raila and Uhuru Kenyatta by the gate was going to be very embarrassing. And so they released Fred Matiangi. So with all this love, the efforts that the former president have made to ensure that Fred is safe, now that he seems to be working with William Ruto, is he going to abandon Uhuru Kenyatta? That is a puzzle that people really want to be demystified, so that, because there are a lot of rumors around it. And if Uhuru Kenyatta is quiet about this, does it mean he is aware of what is happening? Because people think that this was a well and long choreographed kind of drama that is just being played to ensure that Raila Odinga is managed. What is really happening, and what do you think is happening? The third one is their relationship with Raila Odinga, considering the efforts and the risks that Raila Odinga took to ensure that he protects Matiangi. The first time there was this news that the police was invading his home in the middle of the night, Raila went there. When you look at Raila today, Raila is not as active as he was 20 years ago. Raila is facing his political sunset. He's very active, but not as he was then. He braved the night and he went there. And he said that they were going to sit there in vigil to ensure that Fred Matiangi was safe. And even when Fred was detained at the DCI headquarters, Raila went there and you saw the altercation, telling the officer who was stopping him that he would order his supporters to break the doors so that they could rescue Fred Matiangi. Now that Raila says that he does not even recognize the legitimacy of William Samoei Ruto, what is the position of Fred Matiangi, considering their love, considering the sacrifices that the Raila and the Azimio fraternity have made to ensure that he is safe? Is he abandoning Raila Odinga? That is another puzzle. Is he now telling him Asante Ampunda ni mateke? Those are the puzzles that people are looking at. And the last one is the uncertainty. The DPP wrote this letter, and this letter is only based on the case surrounding the invasion by the police, or the invasion of the police at his home. But you all know that there is another letter that was written to the anti-corruption group, because they want to see all the letters, all the documents that Fred Matiangi used when he was declaring his wealth, because they have got a feeling that Fred is corrupt, that he has accumulated some wealth that he cannot account for, and they were pursuing this. Have they also removed this? Because this is something that Matiangi must also be wary of. Are they going to drop all the charges, or they will be cherry picking which one to drop so that they can be using one as a scare, so that when they see him going astray, they remind him that, you know, man, you have this case and you have to be very careful. What is it? This is something that he must be wary about. What about the supporters? The supporters who went with him at the DCI headquarters and stood there, they were singing, they were there to protect him, they were there to give him the moral support, they stood by his side because they felt that the Ruto administration was biased and was pursuing a political case against him. What will they say now? Has he abandoned them? And will they receive him the same way they received him then? Because most of the supporters who went there were the Azimio supporters. Now that he's abandoning Azimio, what will happen? And will Okengo Matiangi balance the leadership of Raila Odinga and that of Uhuru with the administration? For example, will he attend the rally? Because William Ruto is supposed to go there for a development tour for 3 days, beginning on 24th up to 26th. Will he go there? And when they want him to defend him that they don't want maandamanos, will he speak openly about this? What about the prayer rallies that they always attend? Will Matiangi be there? So, you know, Kenyans are watching and waiting, and they want to hear exactly what is happening. The puzzle must be raveled, and we must know what is happening. Ladies and gentlemen, what is your thought on this? Share with me in the comment section.